If you just ask Trump voters, if you only look at the results from people who say they support Donald Trump and they voted for him for president, those people, Trump voters, they believe that Donald Trump did have the biggest inauguration in U.S. history. They definitely think he had more people at his inauguration than Barack Obama did at his. Naturally, they are absolutely convinced that the Trump inauguration had a larger turnout in Washington, D.C. than that dumb women's march did the following day. They also believe, I kid you not, they also believe that most of the women who protested this weekend at those giant marches, Trump supporters believe that most of the women who marched were paid to do so by George Soros. Really, most of them. It must have been a very complicated payment scheme. But that is what Trump voters believe. Soros paid them all. And of course, none of that is true. None of that is true. But the fact that Trump voters believe all that untrue stuff, that is starting to be of renewed political importance, because this is not the campaign anymore. It's not that people are supporting their chosen candidate because of stuff they believe about the world that isn't true. There are people now who are looking at the world who still believe things that are wildly and provably untrue, who are the base of support for this president now that he is in office. And that's important. That may be, depending on how you look at it, either the silver lining for what's otherwise bad news, or that may be the building block for what the new administration feels they have to work with in terms of starting this presidency. Because it's one thing to have the country like you or not. It's one thing to have your supporters, like you and trust you, and the rest of the country doesn't like you and trust you. It's one thing if your supporters have, different opinions or feelings about the world that set them apart from everybody else in the country. I get that. But it is another thing altogether if your supporters are deluded, if your supporters are flat out operating from a whole different, mostly false set of facts that they don't share with anybody else and that aren't true. And Trump supporters really are. And we are now, as of tonight, getting the first national polling data that proves that. And what is weird and what's happening in politics right now is that the forces supporting Donald Trump in Washington and trying to figure out how they are going to careen through his presidency with supporters like this, it may be that they believe that is a good thing and they want to build on that. And we are seeing the first concrete signs of that now. And that story's next.